A very good evening, all of you. Welcome to Nirnay IAS. This is Venkatesh, your faculty for geography. Just a minute. This is Venkatesh, your faculty for geography at Nirnay IAS. I am very happy to announce you that. Just a minute, guys. Your faculty for geography. My own video is being repeated here. Okay, fine. Right. Okay. So I am welcoming you, all of you, again to Nirnay IAS English channel. I am happy to announce to all the UPSC aspirants that here we are helping you guys to prepare for the civil services exam, where I will be handling the subject of geography, and here we would be taking some classes and we would be giving you how to approach the subject of geography in this YouTube session. So with that, let us start. And today's theme is all about introduction. It's all about introduction to the subject of geography, which you can use it for your prelims and exam. And over a period of time, we will take around some important topics by syllabus wise continuously, right? This is what I call it as geography for beginners, where you can understand, learn, and get into the tune of UPSC preparation, right? With that, let's start. Can anyone tell me, as you are seeing, what is geography is all about? What is geography all about? Can anyone tell me? Let me see the comments. What do you mean by geography? Come on, anyone, can you tell me? Quick. Arpit Verma, geography optional batch hai kya? हाँ, we have it, Arpit. We do have it. We do have it, Arpit. Good. Then you see, what do you mean by geography? I think we all tend to say geography means, geo means earth, study means, graphy means description or study. So geography is, in a simple word, we all tend to say the use of the word study of earth. But do you study only the earth? What do you mean by study of the earth? All the wars of the world happened on planet earth. Does it mean that history comes under geography? No, no. There is a certain aspect to the study of earth. There is a certain aspect. That aspect we need to understand. What is that aspect? As geography as a subject, initially when the Greeks and the Romans have started studying, they have viewed the understanding of the size of the earth, the shape of the earth, the relationship between the earth and the sun. That was what we regarded as study of the earth. So in the basic idea, we study the what? We study the perspective of size of the earth, shape of the earth. That is what we tend to study. What is the relationship of the earth with the sun? That is what we are studying in the initial idea. Are you getting my point, all of you? Are you getting my point? Right? That is the size and shape of the earth. Now, once you get the understanding about the size of the earth, shape of the earth, and all these kind of things, you will get into the next point. Once you get size, shape, you have understood that, okay, the earth may be the center of the solar system. The Earth may be not the center of the solar system, but the sun. Remember the heliocentric theory, Copernicus theory, you might have studied. So that was the domain. The domain of the knowledge of subject of geography is understanding the size and shape of the earth. With time, what happened? People started going across the different places on the planet Earth. They started going across. In the process, they came across mountains, plateaus, plains, deserts, rivers and all. And people are moving as part of the war with their cavalry and all. Definitely they need to understand at what time of the year we need to go, which places we need to take a halt, where are the rivers, what is the distance from one river to another river, how to cross, where to cross, how to go across mountains like Himalayas. For example, when Alexander has waged wars on India, he needs to understand that, okay, as he moves from his place to India, he needs to go across the Hindu Kush mountains, he needs to cross the Himalayas, he needs to get into the places where we have the Indus River. So he needs to cross these areas, then he can come across, right? So he started mapping all these things. That is what cartography has evolved. And cartography has started mapping all the physical features. This is the thing, right? Once you get to this point, the cartography mapping have understood. With the time, humans have started observing how do these hills are having an impact on us. Oh, there is a desert like Saharan desert. There is a desert like Arabian desert. How does it impact the humans? There is a mountain. How does it impact us? There is a river. How does it impact us? That is what has turned us the impact of physical features on humans. That has evolved as human geography. Are you following me, all of you? Are you following me, all of you? Right? Size, shape of the earth, cartography, physical features, human geography. This is what we are making you to understand about the perspective of the subject of geography. With time, all these things has evolved as a major theme within the broader domain of the subject of geography. So in the present era, we study the physical features like mountains, plateaus, plains. We study about their climates and all these kind of things under the broad domain of physical geography. And these things have an impact on the humans. And we also change. For example, agriculture. Agriculture is cultivation of the crops. How do you cultivate crops? There is an element of climate in it. There is a certain crop like rice. It needs tropical temperatures. It needs more amount of water. That means water, either you provide by irrigation or it has to be a rainfall area. So what is happening? The physical aspect which we have studied is impacting the human aspects like cultivation of crops. Minerals for that matter, we tend to study about something called as a volcano. Once a volcano is there, the vent and the pipe, in some of the places it can have some of the minerals like diamonds. Kimberlite in South Africa is known for diamonds. It is along the opening of a volcano, that is the vent or a pipe-like structure. So what is happening? All the physical features, be it the volcanoes, be it the climatological things, all the things have an impact on humans. And that is how we tend to study the physical features and human features. And with respect to special impact on India, with respect to special impact on the world in general, we tend to study. Right? This is the theme of geography. Yes, Arprit, आप geography optional classes YouTube पर कर सकते हो. Not now, my dear, but maybe in the future. Yes, not now, as of now. Right. Then, so what is this geography subject is all about? Geography. What do you mean by geography? What is this subject all about? If I make you to understand, as I told you, study of the earth, it can be called a study of places. That is what we study, and how the relationship between people and their environment happens. That is what is called as geography. Simply study of places. You go and ask any kind of person, a common person, when I say geography, what do they say? What do they tend to say? They all tend to say something about places. Arey yaar, geography means places. How? Geography means it's all about maps. That is what the usual reaction is, right? This is what here also we are trying to tell you. In the process, what do you tend to understand as geography? We tend to understand in geography where things are. Why are they located there? How did they change over time? For example, where are Himalayas? Northern part of India. Why they are part of the northern part? Why? Plate tectonics. There is a plate movement. Why they are the loftiest mountains? Why not a mountain like Andes? How did they develop? How did they change over time? What are the human activities which you have done which made to the changes? What are the consequences? How to take care of that? For example, how did we develop? How did this have a change over time? How this people located there are vulnerable to earthquakes? So all these are we try to understand through one theme. Not just the Himalayas. We can take any further example like that. For example, you take something like India itself. India, we all know that populous nation of the world, right? India population. So if I ask you a question, which countries are known for having more population? Which country is the number one in terms of the population of the world? We all tend to say what? India, right? China. Am I right, all of you? Would you agree with me? India and China are the number ones. Am I right? Am I right, all of you? India and China. India and China are the number one populous nations of the world. Then why there is more population there? If not India and China, which country would have been the number one populous nation? What is the attribute to it? If you understand, you will get to know that it is the resources, it is the climate, it is the rivers as a resource which are making it happen. You have the Indus River, you have the Ganga River. What are they doing? They are providing enough water to us. They are providing enough fertile soils to us to cultivate the crops, and that is the reason why people started settling. You all might have watched the Man versus Wild program, right? As per the program, what is the indicator you tend to see? The program tends to end when you see a river, right? Why? Usually, according to the norm, once you have a river, rivers indicate that these are centers of civilization. So along with the river, he goes to a small village. From there, there would be a road, and that is how he tends to come out of a trapped, that is how he tends to come out of a remote area. Of course, it is another thing that Man versus Wild, Bear Grylls always tends to, he tends to be stranded with his cameraman. That is the program, that is a different thing. But what is the idea behind it? The idea is rivers are centers of civilization. What is that? Rivers are centers of civilization, right? Okay. Hello, Suraj. Hello, Suraj. Right. So this is the point. So as rivers are the centers of the civilization, that is where we have the climate and rivers and all there. So India's population, where more population countries, where more of the population of the world is living, like countries like India, China, there you have seen significant resources, and these resources, because of those factors, so many other things have contributed, and now it is where population is changing. Of course, population as a theme, it is not just geographical factors, it is also the social factors, it is also the health factors, technological factors, so many things are there. I am giving you one perspective. So if you need to understand where is the population distribution and what are the reasons, there are so many things. One of the main aspect happens to be climate, resources. For example, you don't go and live in the areas like Siberian desert, no? Siberian cold desert, or for that matter, Saharan hot desert. Why? Climate is extremely harsh for us. Then there has to be some incentive to us. What is that incentive? You take Dubai. Dubai is a desert area. But why the population is increasing like anything there as part of the cities? Oil has changed the resources. We are trying to provide new things because of technological factors. So there are so many factors are at play. What general thumb rule you tend to find is you need to grow something there. That is the reason why India and China are populous nation of the world, right? Okay. You can take as many examples as possible. You take geography, where, why, how. You can take from physical aspects, you can take from this, industries of the world. Iron and steel industries. Where are iron and steel industries are there? Say places like Jamshedpur. Why? Why are they located there? There are resources there. How did they change over time? Because of the resources and the availability of a steel plant and all, other ancillary industries like Tata Motors have come across. That is the automobile industry, right? How do in general iron and steel industry is a industry tends to be located? There are some physical factors, there are some new factors. More technological things, they are changing. That is how we try to understand, right? So we'll go to the next theme now. That is what, as you have understood the introduction to the subject of geography, what does UPSC says? UPSC syllabus says that there is an Indian and world geography, physical aspects of the world, social aspects of the world, economic geography of the world. So you can see physical aspects. We have seen right now, say something like study about the climate. We have seen social, say something about the tribes, something about the population. And there is economic aspect, say something like agriculture, minerals, industries, transport. Those are the things. Then the same thing, in detail, UPSC is given information for the mains. For example, if you get into the detailed syllabus portion, that is what we call it as salient features of world's physical geography. We will discuss what is geomorphology, climatology, oceanography and all. This is the theme. That is as per the mains. Then they have said that, my dear, yes, you study about world physical geography, plus, but please give me a special significance to these points. UPSC itself is saying, important geophysical phenomena, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes, cyclones. Is cyclone not part of climate, physical geography? Is earthquakes not part of physical geography, geomorphology? Right? But why they are saying? They are saying that this is a separate thing that indicates that we need to plan them. So there is a separate focus. Then geographical features and their location. So there are some certain geographical features like mangroves, coral reefs. How are they changing over a period of time? Say like water bodies and ice caps. And how does that impact on flora and fauna? Ultimately, if there is any change, there is an impact. Climate change, global warming and all. There is an approach which you need to study. That is the syllabus. My dear, syllabus should be your thumb rule. From the syllabus, you have to go across and study, not otherwise, right? Am I right, all of you? Syllabus should be your base. Next time, when are you preparing, you have to connect with the syllabus. Oh, this is a syllabus. So tomorrow, if they ask you a question here, something called as cryosphere. Sir, there is no word cryosphere which is mentioned here. No. What is ice caps? Cryosphere. Tomorrow, if they tend to ask about a word called as permafrost, there is a clause connected to this point. You need to understand. This is the how we tend to practice. This is how we tend to map the things. You have to understand the syllabus, then get into the details of each point. That is how we tend to prepare. Most of you guys, what you tend to do is, you take a book, you tend to study what is there in it, but that book is prepared according to the author of that book, no? That is not prepared in tune with the UPSC syllabus. You have to prepare with UPSC. Moving forward. Distribution of key natural resources. Now we have natural resources, forest and all. India and subcontinent, Indian subcontinent, world in general. Where are the industries, primary, secondary, tertiary? That is what the syllabus is. Now I'll give you a brief understanding about the entire syllabus, right? Okay, we'll go into the each point. For example, if you all have seen this, lithosphere, atmosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere. Can you tell me what is lithosphere? What is lithosphere? Can you tell me, any one of you? Can you tell me, any one of you, what is lithosphere? Quickly. Yes, Suraj, can you tell me? Come on, Suraj, can you tell me please, so that I can move forward? Okay, fine. Solid portions of the Earth's crust. Very good here, Suraj. That is what the lithosphere is. Lithosphere is it is their solid portion. The same thing you are repeating, I understand. What is the solid portion? In other words, the rock sphere. The rocks of the Earth. That is what is lithosphere, solid portion. So it includes the crust plus upper mantle, upper portions of mantle. Maybe the first few 100 kilometers. That is what we can call it as lithosphere. The air around us is atmosphere. And we all know that there is water on the planet Earth, hydrosphere. The combination of lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere is where life exists, biosphere, right? So this is what the geography is all about. Geography is study of these four spheres, right? And there where we find ice, that is what is called as cryosphere, right? Cryosphere, ice. If there is ice sphere, we tend to call it as cryosphere. So this includes like polar areas, Himalayan glaciers, and such kind of stuff. Then we'll move forward to the next line now. What is climatology? One of the basic aspects of geography is climate. So when you say climate and weather, we tend to talk about how is today's temperature, how is the weather over today in terms of humidity, rain. That is what we tend to say, no? So we tend to study some of the elements of weather and climate, which are there in the air around us, atmosphere. That is why climatology, atmosphere, closely connected. Elements of weather, elements of climate, we study about temperature. How is temperature in June? How it is different from December? How does it has a close connection with respect to the pressure? Pressure will be helping in winds. Winds with moisture, that is humidity, they can yield rainfall. And in the process, there are some events like thunderstorms. You can see cloud formation, so many things. So what does this say? The study about all these kind of things in a long term. For example, if you go to January, if you go to Kashmir in the month of January, we have to see something like snowfall. That is the climate. But on a certain day of that January, it might snow, it might not. That is weather, right? In general, if there is a variation of lack of snow in the month of January in Kashmir, then something is wrong with the climate of Kashmir, climatology. That is what the approach which we tend to study for. Okay, right? This is the geomorphology. Sorry, climatology. We'll go to the next aspect, geomorphology. Geo, earth, morpho, form, shape, description. So that is geomorphology. In study words, study of landforms. As you see the planet Earth, imagine you are an alien. You are coming from your planet into my planet of Earth. What is the first thing you tend to see on the you tend to see of a planet called as Earth? You see that there is tremendous amount of water. That's why we call it as blue planet. So the first thing you tend to see is water. As you come together, you will see that, oh, the Earth is distributed with different shapes, forms, water and land, continents and oceans. So the alien has seen the Earth as a continent and ocean. Then as your alien ship or your spaceship tends to come close to the planet Earth, enters into the atmosphere of the planet Earth and lands, according to Hollywood movies, it has to land in America. That is a different thing. Then it will land in other continents. And finally, American Avengers would come across and they tend to save the world. That is what the Hollywood movies have helped us, have told us rather. But we all know, what does it indicate? It indicates that once the spaceship is entering into the land, it will see variety of continents. In each continent, as you zoom in further, you will get to know things like mountains, plateaus, plains. As you zoom in the seabed of the ocean, you tend to find trenches, you tend to find mid-oceanic ridges, such kind of things, right? Then within the mountains, say you tend to find waterfalls, you tend to find valleys, gorges, canyons. Within the plains, you tend to find deltas. What are these, my dear? Shape of the earth, study of form of the earth, form of the land. So geomorphology is study of landforms. So when you study geography, we study from this perspective. Are you following me, all of you? Are you following me? Are you having any doubt, Suraj? Suraj, are you having any doubts? Okay. Then as you move forward, I think you can see this wonderful things in the ocean, coral reefs. So what is that? Life, oceanography, study of oceans. Study of oceans. We tend to study of oceans what? What do you study? We tend to study their physical aspects. We tend to study their chemical aspects. We tend to study their biological aspects, because coral reefs, corals can survive only in certain places where there is some kind of enough salt in it, not dominance of fresh water. Across the coastline of India, along the east coast, or for that matter west coast, you hardly find corals in our country. Why? There are so many rivers. Say you take an example like east coast. Starting from West Bengal, Odisha, and then into Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, there are mighty rivers like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, and all, pumping up huge waters, huge pile of fresh waters to the ocean. Because of dominance of fresh water, there are no corals. So for corals to exist, there has to be some salt in it. There should not be dominance of fresh water. That is the reason why only you cross the Gulf of Mannar, you come to Tamil Nadu, southern portions, where there are very, very few rivers, you will see some corals. Otherwise, no corals. Andaman Nicobar, decent corals. Why? No dominance of fresh water. That is a beautiful thing. So what is that? We are studying something about chemical aspects. So oceanography, these things will determine resources. These things will determine so many aspects of life upon us. 70% of the world is oceans, and definitely they have a say on how the 30% on it the humans are living, that is the land. So definitely oceanography, study of oceans, is having a vital aspect. That is there, right? Then as you move forward, ultimately it all have an impact on us. Human and physical are very much correlated. I have told you examples like agriculture, you see economic, you see population, right? Urban, right? For example, under the present era of global warming, our cities are seeing unusual rainfall. So urban landscape has been changed because of the unusual rainfall. You take monsoons, how our cities are turning into a because turning into a concrete jungle, and because of which a smaller amount of a monsoonal rainfall is causing havoc. What is the reason? Lack of proper planning. Ultimately, you study geography for solving the problems of the people. Simple. Cities, how are they living? How the concentration of people is there? Are we providing enough buffer zones and or we need to study? We don't provide, that's why we are facing the wrath of the nature. That is what we call it as urban floods, right? So that is the theme of study, geography and linking with respect to the human development in various facets. Then we have resources. Physical aspects provide resources. You see, there is a forest. The forest would be providing the wood. Cutting of wood as an economic activity, we call it as what? Most of you tend to say that cutting of wood as an economic activity, you say it is deforestation. Of course, that is a deforestation, no doubt. But when you do it from an economic activity, we call it as lumbering. We tend to call it as deforestation when it is a negative aspect. But this is a positive aspect. So we need to, for example, the moment we talk about teak wood, we tend to talk about furniture. What is that? It is an activity, no? Economic activity which you get the resources out of our forest. The excessive exploitation of the forest beyond the natural capacity to renew it on its own. That is where we use words like deforestation and all, right? That is the forest. Then you can see here we have the wonderful oceans. These oceans are all centers of fishing activity. Wonderful fishing activity. You can see here agriculture, soils, animal husbandry. These are all the resources for us. Forests, soil, water, all these are resources. Then, that's what I told you, agriculture, cultivation of crops. So how do you cultivate crops? Which crops are cultivated? What is happening? We tend to see, right? Then, that is how the subject is. My dear, as you take the courses in Nirnay IAS, one of the aspects which I definitely believe in is geography is blessed with visualization of the topics. I can show you such kind of things because my subject has that capability. So I believe one of my fundamental philosophy of teaching, where I take as a specialization, is using the GIFs, using the images, videos to get that physical, to get that visual appeal. As you get this visual appeal, your conceptual clarity becomes very, very dominant. That is the thing. Then you see here, there is so much amount of rainfall at the equator. That's where you find dense vegetation. As you go away from the equator, vegetation reduces because rainfall reduces. You see the density between these two pictures. Then as you move further in some of the places, from continuity of more trees, we are coming to a point where there are limited trees, isolated trees with grasses. This is what the Lion King movie, savannas. These are what we call it as tropical grassland savannas. Why grass? Lack of rain. Lion King movie. And then as you go more into the desert, no rain. That is the desert. So no rain, desert. Some rain, savanna grasslands. Decent rain, deciduous, monsoonal forest. Continuous rain throughout the year, evergreen forest. So if you see the pictures of these four, you get to know something about vegetation. You get to know something about the connectivity with the climate. So my pictures speak a lot, right? This is what the theme here is. This is what I focus. And my dear, this is what the topic is. You can get into my Telegram channel for more such kind of things. Okay, and people, you can get in the description, you can get into the courses which we offer here and all. So beginners, you can all get into the UPSC course, foundation course, where me and all the other faculties will be helping you into provide you a strong foundation which is needed for clearing the UPSC Civil Services exam. So for that, you can use my code Venkatesh, which will give you a decent discount, right? And for more such updates and all, if you wanted to connect with me, you can get into my Telegram channel. You can simply scan the QR code or type Venkatesh or textbook. You will get that. You can connect with me, right? I hope you all have understood the theme of today's class. You have understood what is subject of geography and all. We will be having more such sessions in this Nirnay IAS channel and all. You can get into this channel, and then through it, you can understand some of the additional things which we are planning, right? All of you, thank you very much for watching it. Have a good day. We'll come back with a new topic again after some days. Thank you. Thank you, Suraj. Thank you, Arpreet, and all of the others who are watching it now. Thank you very much.